Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to City Skylines Mass Transit. I certainly hope you're having a wonderful day, because I'm certainly excited to be back in the beautiful city of Nerdshire, where things are going pretty well. I don't currently have Demand Master turned on. Gonna go ahead and do that, because I think I've pretty much agreed with myself that it's going to be for the best. Money is sort of okay. Population is sort of okay. It comes and goes. You know, the population goes up, the money goes up. Population goes down, the money goes down. I'm honestly not that worried about it. I'm kind of over it. We had a good 30-something episodes of nothing but management. At this point, we have enough money that I don't think we're ever going to run into any issues. And the lack of demand was just making it really, really dull. We weren't getting to grow anything. So anyway, that's what we're doing. There's two things I'd like to bring up as we begin. Number one, I figured out what I needed to do with the roundabout here to get it to work like this. A lot of people were quite nice in the comments of the last episode. We're like, yeah, you just got to do this kind of thing, then that kind of thing, and then it'll not go weird when you connect it. And a couple of other people were like, yo, how have you played City Skylines for so long, but you're so bad at it? Oh my god, oh. That kind of thing. Those people have lost their ability to comment on this YouTube channel. And as a second thing, which is a little bit less sarcastic, a lot of you are really, really nice with regards to my throat being in shreds, basically. It still is. You can probably hear it, that my throat still isn't quite okay. That's why there's not been as many videos recently as there should be, because I'm resting my throat as much as I can, whilst still making sure I get some work done. YouTube is a really unforgiving industry, and you can only go so long without posting regularly before you start doing some serious damage to your channel. It's all algorithm based, it's recommended, it's all that stuff, and there's only so long you can go before it's going to start really hurting your channel long term. And I kind of don't want to throw away everything I've built for like 5 years because of a sore throat. It's kind of okay. I took some stuff. It's a little bit hoarse. It's not as bad as it was, but the show, as always, must go on. So with that said, today I'd like to perhaps start growing some suburbs out this way a little bit. I did go ahead and get rid of the suburbs that were originally over here, and there's still some buildings sort of sitting out that way. There's a bus stop there as well, which we're going to remove. But I do want to go ahead and start working on some stuff out here. I actually sort of had the idea that maybe... Oh, wow. What is up with the highway? This is very interesting. Where are you? Why is it tailing back like that? That's really strange that it's tailing back all the way back there. I guess it's just merging somewhere. Either way, what I was thinking was we'd maybe have a way off of the highway back here that's sort of going to go way out and around and connect over to the international airport, then way down here, and just sort of around the whole map. Because what I was thinking is, it doesn't really make sense for this big avenue thing here to just sort of end. I'd like it to connect to the highway and sort of give us a lot of different little options for connections to the city, because that kind of makes sense to me. I also want to start working on a small industrial area sort of in here, I think, by this roundabout. But what I'm going to try first, I think, is bringing this highway... Well, bringing the highway off of there is actually going to be really tricky. We might very well need to go in and buy these last few tiles that we don't have right on the edge there. Those are very expensive though, so maybe we'll hold off. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll start with an industrial area. And I was saying I'd put it here, but there's a hill there, which is going to make it kind of tricky. So what I'll do is have the entrance to the industrial area sort of be over here. And I'm going to use an avenue to do this. So it's going to go like 10 units that way, and that'll be fine. And then I want a road that sort of goes, we'll go a little bit further with this for a second, but I want a road that sort of goes off of that and this way. But I kind of want it to be freeform, so it almost follows the curve that we have going on there. So kind of like that. So it's going to follow that curve, and then it needs to get to here and suddenly go that way. So the question is, can I make it do that without it looking terrible? The answer is probably going to be no, but we are going to try. So it goes to there. Then it just needs to sort of go like that, really. So it needs to do that kind of thing. And I need it to come back around because I want it to be an interesting looking industrial zone. I do want it to be functional as well. And I want it to be able to service all of the commercial buildings that we have in this area. It's just proving to be a little bit of an awkward area to work with. The one-way road might be a bit of a problem as well, but we're going to see how it handles that. Because, you know, sometimes a one-way road's going to be all right. You know, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. More often than not, it doesn't. But that's kind of City Skylines. That's kind of the majority of experiences I've had in this game. It's like, hey, I've got this really cool idea. Guarantee it won't work. That's most of this game for me. Anyway, let's go ahead and get a little bit of a curve going just there. Something kind of like that, I think. And then it just needs to come straight across to about there. And it just needs to go down. I want it to be a decently sized industrial area, but I also want it to at least somewhat follow the curves of the terrain. I think that's going to be kind of important. So it needs to go... Oh, what way are we going to do this? It needs to go like that, pretty much. And then straight down like that. So something like that should work. It does give us that one-way system that we want. This traffic here can do what it wants to do. So yeah, that'll hopefully be fine. We can put some industrial buildings in there. I did actually go to the workshop and get a few more parking lots as well. So people are going to be pleased to know that we don't have to just stick with my little 4x2 parking lot. We've got multi-stories, we've got all that kind of stuff. But we'll deal with those in a bit. What I'm going to do first is actually go in here and use the tree brush to take out all of the trees that are inside of this sort of industrial space. So those are all going to come out. I really could probably get a cargo train coming in here as well if I really wanted to. I don't know if that's a thing I want to do. Because the train sort of goes over there. So I could... Man, my voice is still not right. I could put a cargo train station sort of there and have it link across and out that way as well. Like it could go over to there as well. That could be really interesting. I might actually do that. That might be kind of cool to do, so we'll see what happens with that. First things first, though, I do want to get some zoning in here. I want to kind of leave some empty space. Like, this bit over here can be fairly well packed, but over here, I like the idea of having at least a bit of empty space. Just so that it's not as dense as everything else we've been doing. That's something I want to try and steer away from just a little bit with this. Just something that's not, it's not just a big old grid. That's basically what we're going for. Something that's going to be a bit more than just a giant grid. So that right there should work. We'll leave some space in between there as well. And we'll have a couple of little dead end roads in here as well. So we'll turn off road guidelines. We'll bring that up to there. Leave a gap of like 3 between those and bring that up to there. And yeah, that'll kind of work. That'll just give us a bit of interesting space to work with. Bring that down to there. Bring you over to there. And we can even bring a road off of there as well. So, yeah, that'll just give us an industrial zone. It's not completely, it's not as dense as everything else we've done. But it should do some good stuff. So let's go ahead and throw in the pipes that it's going to need. I think I'm also going to work towards monuments today. I think I'd like to be able to get the fusion power plant in here so that we never have to worry about adding more nuclear power plants, or we could just move some of the nuclear power plants over here. That would be kind of interesting. And it would give this area just a little bit more purpose. So maybe that's a thing we could do. I guess we'll see. I mean, I could very well go and like grab this and throw it in there-ish, or in like that space or something. There is definitely a lot of room for a nuclear power plant in here. In fact, if I was to turn on anarchy, right there is not a bad spot for it. I mean, sure, you're going to be sitting down here in your yard. You're going to see the nuclear plant. The nuclear plant is almost what I said there. the nuclear plant in the background, and you're going to be like, oh, I hope that doesn't blow up. But, you know, it won't. It's City Skylines. I'm actually slightly annoyed that natural disasters didn't come with, like, a... Is it grim of me to be annoyed that natural disasters didn't have a nuclear power plant meltdown as a disaster? Does that make me a bad person? Because if it does, I don't regret it. I just like to know, really. You know, I just like to know these things. If I'm a bad person, just let me know. But I feel like it's a missed opportunity. I almost feel like it is straight up a missed opportunity. There was room for like I won't say a cool disaster, but an interesting one. And it's like, yeah, nah, we're not going to do that. So I don't know. Leave your, send your feedback to, what's my P.O. box? I don't know what is my P.O. box. Hold on, I'm going to go check the description of one of my videos, because it's in there. I just don't know what it is. I probably should. What is it? What is my P.O. box? ConflictNerd, P.O. Box 160, Coleraine, United Kingdom, BT529BJ. Good. My P.O. box has BJ at the end of it. All right. Anyway, moving on and back to a degree of maturity, let's go ahead and start zoning some of this. And I think some of this could probably have offices in it, to be honest. But we'll go ahead and just throw in a bunch of industrial zoning just around these spaces to sort of surround the power plant. Although it might be an idea to add some parking lots around the power plant as well. And I know people are going to be like, oh my god, parking lots. Man, I haven't recorded a video in a couple of days. I'm a little bit out of practice and I'm maybe slightly more cynical than usual. I'm also having fun. I've been toying around a little bit with Nerdshire off camera just to see, you know, what I can do. And figure out where I'm going with it as well. Because that's a big thing I always struggle with towards the end of a City Skylines series. I always struggle with where I'm gonna end things with the cities that I build. So that's definitely true here. Now, this is a cool looking building. Look at that. That's not a bad looking parking lot. Does the zoning go? Yeah, the zoning goes weird under the corner of it though. Not a huge fan of that. What else we got? We got this like underground spiral one, which I really enjoy. So I'm gonna throw it back there. But I'm also thinking I might throw. I mean, we got this giant thing right here as well. That's kind of neat looking. But I feel like I'd rather this was... Ooh, does it fit there? Almost. It almost fits there. That would have been really nice if it fit there. But I'm thinking I might just throw this somewhere like there. Mostly for the view. Mostly so that you come down this road and you see a giant sort of multi-story looking building. Then this one can be like for the power plant. This is going to be the parking lot specifically for the power plant. So we're going to move it over just a little bit so that it's connected on the concrete there. And I think that's kind of cool. That'll do the job for sure. We could throw another one just over here and say that this one's like the entrance or something. Just something like that. And then if I could pave this little area here, I absolutely would. I mean, technically I can. It just doesn't really work. So maybe we throw like a tree in there just to, you know, make it look a bit nicer. A couple of bushes and stuff like that. So yeah, that kind of works. Gives the power plant some purpose. So let's go ahead and throw in some more industrial buildings just into all of that space and down there as well. This bit back here, we'll throw in some buildings, and up here we'll throw in some buildings as well. But I feel like here I just want to do my usual sort of parking lot look. So something just a bit like that, just to have some space around this power plant. You know, just so it's not completely jam-packed with stuff. And man, my voice, I'm so self-conscious of my voice at the moment. Because people are because some people are being really nice. That's the problem. People are being too nice. It's like, yo, just rest your voice. The videos can wait. And I'm like, no, they can't. They can't, though. And I want to play City Skylines. Speaking of the last episode, though, a lot of people were leaving feedback based on my question regarding the next series. which was, if you missed it, would you rather the next series was a heavily modded Let's Play without Demand Master, or a real-time creative series in the vein of Emerald County, just without as many time lapses? So most of what would be done in real time, so I'd be walking you through the build process. It would take, I won't say it would take as long as, you know, however long it takes. There will be bits that will be sped up because, let's be honest, it'd be really, really boring really, really quickly if there weren't. But the point is, you know, I'm sort of throwing out those two ideas because I don't really know which I want to do yet either. I don't know if I want to do a full sort of Let's Play in another full modded Let's Play just yet, or if I want to do another creative thing. I honestly don't know, so having that out there for you guys to decide is actually really helpful, just to sort of gauge what people are keen for, I suppose. Anyway, what I'm doing here is just going ahead and throwing some buildings along the edges of the industrial zone here. Reason for that is because I do want to make the trees around this zone a bit more dense. I also want to make sure that this is actually connected to the power grid. So that's going to go to there and there. There we go. So yeah, I want to make the trees around this a little bit more dense. I'm also curious to see if perhaps we're going to need to connect this to the highway little connection over there, because this road down here is probably going to get real busy real quick. That is probably going to be an issue, but we'll deal with it when it comes up. As for this space, I mean, I kind of like the idea of leaving it relatively empty. In fact, taking that bit out as well is going to be a good idea. Well, no, actually, kind of makes more sense to fill it up. I mean, there are houses just across the road, which is kind of a problem. But I think we're just going to fill it up. Because I don't think a nice looking park in there is going to make sense either. We'll leave those bits, but fill that bit up. So yeah, we'll see how traffic deals with all of this. I think I will go ahead and throw in a passenger train station, a cargo train station, sorry, not a passenger train station, don't know what I'm talking about. We'll throw a cargo train station in here. With it being a one-way road as well, that's gonna hopefully help things a little bit. But what I'm thinking is we bring the train line straight out like this. And we bring the train line straight out like this. And really this can just run in a straight line. Like it can straight up just go to there and go to there. And go to like there. I'm going to use a one-way track for this for a second just to mark that bit. Because what I want to do is have that go, you know, 45 degrees like that, I guess. It's a bit silly looking, but it's going to be the best we can do. And then, you know, 45 that way. That looks terrible. That looks straight up awful. So can I do, you know, if I come off of there, right? So I do that. And then I go to train lines and I do that and I do that and connect those together. Why is that one not connected? What is that all about? So this has to come straight off, right? That has to go like 135 there. Okay, so that's connected. So really what this is telling me is I need this to curve around a little bit. Sort of like that. And then go like that. So that's not connected. That's fine. As for this side, it sort of needs to curve the whole way around and go over there. Which is actually going to be really difficult because that's raised up. Oh boy. I mean, it could go all the way out there. But I am not really seeing an easy way to make that work, because that's a passenger line right there as well. It goes over, I think, the cargo line. Yes, the cargo line is over there. I could get it to go underground. I could do that. But I don't know how realistic that's going to be. So, is there a way for this to actually get to the region? So it goes all the way down there. It goes, no. So that's going to be connected to a passenger train station right now. Does it connect? Oh boy. Oh boy. It does connect under there. Which means, oh wow, this all burnt down. Which means it does actually connect to the cargo train station I have here. And then that does connect out here. So the answer to that is a very long form yes. It does connect, just kind of badly. Which I'm going to let exist for the time being. Because I want to see... I just kind of want to see what happens with that, really. So let's just put some trees in here. Let's make the trees around this industrial area a little bit more dense. Especially on these little banks down here. I want to make those trees as dense as possible. Sort of just to hide the industrial zone from everything else. I'm going to take everything out of there a second just so we can redo the trees and make them a bit more dense. So all the trees go in like this. And we make that just a really, really dense wall of trees right there. Just like so. We'll put a couple of trees in there, put a couple of trees just along that bit as well. Bring them around here and down here. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for. I kind of want that that divide between the avenue and the industrial zone. So you can clearly see it. It's just not, you know, in, I guess, plain sight. I don't know. I don't know what way we'd phrase that, but there we go. Industrial zone right there. That's actually probably going to be a great deal of help to all of the little commercial zones we have around here. At least that's my hope anyway. I realize it probably also needs, yeah, fire coverage. So I'm going to throw just a large fire station in here, since I reckon that's probably going to be for the best. We'll throw it onto, could throw it onto that road there. Yeah, let's do that. Throw the large fire station just on there. That's going to cover the entire industrial zone and a lot of this area as well. So that's going to be absolutely beautiful to have right there. I do have to imagine, though, that a lot of traffic is still going to be backed up on the highway over here. Yeah. So it seems like the issue is... Oh, it is extending down a bit. I don't know. It seems like it's a merging thing. Really seems like it's just a merging problem for traffic, but we'll not worry too much about it for the time being. Because what I want to do is I do think I want to come back to this highway idea and see if I can get a section of highway coming off of here and just going around. And we can use roundabouts for this, I'm pretty sure. I don't think we're going to need to... I don't think for sure, I don't know for sure, but I don't think we're going to need to use proper interchanges. I do think we need to smooth out all of this terrain though. So all of that needs to be smoothed so I can actually do what I need to do with the roundabouts. Which is actually going to be really tricky, but yeah, the reason I don't think we need interchanges is because the roundabout is going to be quite big, and this is, after all, quite far away from the city. So if there's a tailback, it's going to be a tailback that's, you know, kind of far away. Probably not going to be a major issue. So that right there is where the roundabout kind of needs to be. So go 10 and 10 and 10 and 10. And we'll bring these back a little bit. And what we need to do is we need to go around like this. Just the whole way around. That's a decent sized roundabout. Could probably be bigger, but we'll not worry too much about it. Gonna make it have, gonna make it 4 lanes actually. So just going all the way around there. And what we need to do, quite simply, is we need to have this connect in a lot of different ways. An awful lot of different ways. I'm actually thinking that the road that goes the whole way around could very well be just a 2-way highway. Because it's almost going to be like a back road. Like that right there is the main highway going into the city, but we'd have this little back road coming off of it. So if we go ahead and do, you know what, 5, 6 units there, and then turn the rest of that into the standard highway. What we can then do is use these little roads here and go like that and like that. Now, yeah, the terrain's a bit weird there, but once I get rid of this bit of road, I think that'll fix it. And what I need to do with these bits here is bring them in like that and bring this one out like that. Then I can move that little bit there just to straighten up the road. And that's just going to let traffic flow that bit better. And then really what we need to do over here is a very similar thing, where this is going to come out like so. Sort of lining up like that. And this one's going to come in, sort of lining up like that. It's not the neatest. It's not exactly perfect, but it's pretty, it's pretty close. So this one needs to come in and actually just needs to go there. So I need to figure out a way to make these all curve a bit better, because they really don't right now. So that is... You know what? That's probably worth testing, is what that is. That is probably worth testing right there. So let me use the move it tool real quick to bring this up. All right, so that's going to come up, so that's a bit less weird looking. That's going to go down a bit. And then these are going to have to... I'm honestly tempted to just move all of these up to make this whole thing level and then just have this be a slope. I think that might be what I need to do here. Make the whole roundabout as level as it can possibly be. And then have a slope for the highway. Otherwise, it's going to just look really, really strange. So yeah, that right there, I think, is a bit better. This little bit here could maybe be lower. It doesn't need to be perfectly level. That's one thing. I'm not looking for it to be perfectly level. It can have a bit of variation in the heights. It just needs to not be as ridiculous looking. So that bit there and that bit there are going to be raised up slightly. And that bit are also going to be raised up slightly. I mean, sure, you know what might be a better idea? Getting rid of those bits completely and just doing some terrain editing to make this work. That's going to be for the best. Okay, so hopefully this gives you an idea of what I'm thinking. This little road running across here comes off of the roundabout right here. And basically, in this case, gives a connection sort of straight into the city. But it also runs along and does actually connect over towards the international airport. And on top of that, what I'm thinking is it's gonna probably continue around. This connection at the international airport is either going to be turned into a roundabout or completely changed so that it doesn't connect like that. And it's probably going to run the entire way around and have multiple connections like this. Now, this connection right here, it's worth keeping in mind. Right now, this is probably gonna have issues. It is most likely gonna have problems. It's also worth noting, I'm not gonna build right up to that little road. That road is sort of, it's supposed to be more like a country road. It's a road that goes through the countryside, follows the curves of the land, all that kind of stuff. And it basically is there as like an extra little access road. So if someone that lives, you know, out here wants to go to the highway and leave the city, they can just go that way. They don't have to go down through the city, navigate all these streets and then go out. It's basically just ease of access for certain vehicles. Now, there's a lot of vehicles on this road at the moment. Actually way more vehicles on that road at the moment than I figured would use it. But I know that a lot of those are on that road right now because they were sort of determined to use this leftmost lane, which I then forced to be a left turn only lane. So a lot of the vehicles that are on this little road at the moment really have no business being there. That's kind of the simple way of putting it. So that's why this roundabout is as busy as it is at the moment. That's kind of just the way it is. It will clear out. It's just going to take a little bit because the road has more traffic than it needs. So yeah, that's going to take a little bit to clear out, but I do want to get more roads like that in there. I think that's going to be really nice to have. I'm also thinking that I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this bit. So I'm going to take out some of these power lines, and I think we're going to give a roundabout a shot. I think giving a roundabout a shot here is going to be a good idea. So 10, and then 10, and then another 10, and another 10. And we're going to get this to be a roundabout. And we're going to do it in exactly the same way we have been doing. Well, actually, I'd say that's kind of a lie. We're not going to be doing it exactly the same way. Some of it will be, but this bit down here won't be. Because I don't really think we have the room to make this work exactly the way I'd want it to. So this little road's going to come back. And we're going to just sort of curve it around real gently, like this. And like that, and then in. So if I could get it to line up with that road, that'd be great. So something a bit like that, basically. Then it just needs to go, you know, straight like that. So that goes in perfectly. This road over here, going to be a similar story. We are going to come off of there just a little bit. Not quite as far as that other one. But this is going to just curve out like that. Straight across, and then I want it to come down like this. So it's a bit of a weird curve for the road to take, but it is purely because of the existence of that roundabout. So like that will be fine. This bit's going to be as it is. And then all we need to do is we need to go in and change the roads of the roundabout to be this type of highway right here. Just like so. And then we need to use these little roads to come off of about that point. Now, like 47 degrees or whatever. We'll say 42. And it's 46. That'll do. Can I get those to link together? It actually looks like it's going to be really, really tricky to do. It doesn't want to let me do that, which is really odd. So something like that and something like that. Yeah, that works. Okay, well, that'll do the job. That'll be perfectly fine. Because then what I need to do is this sort of thing there. And this sort of thing there. And again, that'll absolutely work. So we can get rid of all this stuff in the middle. And all we need to do is turn off anarchy, go in here and set it up so that they can't U-turn at the end of that little bit. And set it up so they can't U-turn at the end of that little bit. And that should be fine. So that's going to let traffic that's coming in move around just a little bit better. This is probably going to just be adjusted to sort of go straight in or whatever. We'll maybe just take it to, I don't know, there, and there. So again, the airport is connected. Traffic on the little avenue here, definitely going to have some problems. It's going to have to slow down going around that turn, but that's not that much of a big deal. A lot of it disappearing at the moment because it's adjusting to the new road, but for the most part, should be okay. We have some traffic coming in here, but yeah, it'll have no problem getting around that roundabout. It'll have a pretty good time. I realize I did make one mistake. I should have left these roads going through the middle because the roundabout isn't actually done yet. Because what I need to do is go to about there and I need to bring a bit of this normal highway off like that. Maybe not quite that close. Go to about there and do that because we do want to continue that straight through at some point. So like that and about there as well. So it's not perfectly even on all sides, but it's kind of close, and that's kind of what we're going for. So that's just going to go straight there. And that means we can actually extend that little road way out and around, which is exactly what I want to do. So I'll show you my method for extending this road. It's nothing complicated. It's nothing special, nothing like that. I just want to show you my the way I'm deciding to have this curve. So I'm sort of looking at the terrain and seeing what the terrain is. So there's a bump in the terrain here, so the road's going to go way out and around that. The terrain then goes up pretty steep here. So the road's kind of going to turn with that curve almost and sort of go up it at an angle. Sort of turning into it as it rises up, so it's not just going to be a completely steep road. There are some bumps there, so the road's going to curve across like this and go through the more shallow part. It then starts sloping down, so we're going to gradually start sloping down that way as well. And then this bit here is remarkably steep. So we're actually going to turn back a little bit and sort of just go across the face of the steep section there. And then it can gradually follow like this kind of gradual curve around, which is fine. There's a more steep bit there, so it's going to suddenly have a bit more of a turn going that way. And then really I mean, the city is never really going to expand that far right here. Then really it's going to come around here through those two bits of raised terrain. Then there's another hill there, which we can either go up and over or around. In this case, I'm going to go around. There's a small mound there, so we're going to avoid that. And we're going to bring it right around the base of that hill. And we're going to bring it right up to here and to there. Because I want to build a bridge. I want to build a beautiful bridge going straight across here. So we're going to go 10 and up, and 10 and up. And then it just needs to go straight across to about there. 10 units done, 10 units and done. And we have this beautiful bridge going right across there. And we go back to the same method. Now it looks to me like there's a raised bit of terrain just there where my mouse is going. So we want this to sort of go out and around it. So we're going to use that same method. Going out and around it. Around those mounds of raised terrain there. Just ever so slightly. Get a bit close to them, but that's fine. It's going to go around those ones as well. Terrain here is relatively flat, a bit raised on my right there, but it's just going to go mostly straight. I actually like how flat the terrain is out here. Pretty steep there, and I'm trying to get this to meet back up there. It's going to be a little bit tricky. So maybe we bring it around like this, and then up like that onto the top of that raised bit of terrain. I think that'd be kind of cool. Bringing it along the top of that, across the train tracks, out and around that raised bit, and then back over to where it started. And that, to me, that's pretty cool. That, I think, is going to be a really cool road. Once we get a lot of connections on it, and I mean a lot of connections, like we're going to need a serious number of connections in that road to make it do exactly the way what I want it to do. But once we get a shed load of connections to that road, I think we're going to see some pretty cool stuff. I really do think we're going to see some pretty cool stuff from that road. So that can all go away. That's not connected up. That's it's a bit of a weird height. We could just select that bit and raise it up a little bit. Maybe selecting that bit as well and just raise it slightly. So that's, you know, it's not perfect, but we can smooth out the terrain kind of easily. And it looks a little better. If we just go and, let's see. It's probably a good idea to change up that bit. And we also need to make sure that the lanes are set correctly, so you can only go there. All right. So we're probably going to see some traffic get forced. Well, no, we're not getting any traffic forced out onto that road, which is good, because that's a really, really long road right now that doesn't really go anywhere. But the thing is, it follows the terrain exactly the way I want it to. It looks pretty cool, and I am quite pleased with it. I really am quite pleased with it. So we are just going to connect roads to it. That's kind of the gist of it. So if we look at the one that's connected at the minute, it comes off of a main road already. So if we come over to, say, this one, this right here could be another connection that we have. So you are going to go, 20 units just straight that way. But then it's going to start curving. So there's a small mound there, small mound of dirt. We'll have this go out, start curving that way a little bit. Then it's going to need to curve back to go up that hill. And then we're going to turn it into the normal avenue. It's going to continue sort of curving that way. And then I think I'm going to turn it into this little road here. And this is actually going to be a spot where we're going to need another roundabout, which is the interesting detail here. So this actually lines up with that point, more or less. So if we go 10 and 10, bulldoze those bits, and go 10 and 10, we're going to throw in another roundabout, and we're going to see if anyone at all ends up using this. Because I kind of have my doubts, but I'm really, really confident in this. I'm usually not 100% on things, but I'm pretty close on this one. Because logic would dictate that eventually this road will be quite useful. Eventually. So there we go. We actually have got another roundabout out here. I did see a vehicle decide to use it. He's probably heading to the airport rather than heading anywhere major, but to me, that's kind of cool. I like that we have got, you know, these connections out of the city. We're going to have plenty more of them heading out as well, out onto that little country road there. We have some vehicles using this road. I highly, highly doubt anyone's using this one. I really do, but we can check. We can click this and go to here. Not that one, sorry. We can go to this one. Click that road. Yeah, so no one's using that one. There's a decent number using that one, though. Using good old Miller Drive right there. So that is kind of cool. I'm kind of pleased that we have the, I guess it's technically a ring road in a way. It goes the whole way around the city. And eventually is going to have a whole bunch of different connections. So I think what I might try and do is, before we wrap things up today, I want to see if I can get just a few more connections out to, is it still called Miller Drive? Hancock Road. I want to see if we can get a few more connections out there. I just don't know where. I don't want to put them too close together because I don't want it to start looking like I'm defining blocks. Like, this isn't a city block. That's not what it's supposed to be. So I guess the next one really should be like here, which is roughly where that road is. The problem is I don't want to connect to that one because the terrain, well, you know what? We're going to do it. Okay, so there's one last thing I really want to try and do with today's episode, because I realize we haven't done much beyond this industrial area and all these roads. So I'm going to take out a bunch of trees. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to take out all of these trees along this road, and I'm going to try and do something that I think could be kind of interesting, and it's sort of going to be a concept for what I think the suburban areas out here could look like. So all of those trees are now gone, and we're left with pretty much a canvas. So if we go in here with pedestrian paths, and I know you're thinking, oh boy, pedestrian paths, here we go. I know they're not the most exciting thing in the world, but what I'm thinking is if we can link all of these together and we can get all of these pedestrian paths sort of going along the back of the zoning tiles on these avenues, then what we can do is we can have a bit of a gap between the avenue and the space where the more suburban housing is going to be. Which is kind of something I really want to do. I really want to see if we can, you know, get that kind of gap in here and really divide this up, you know, get a nice line of trees alongside the avenue here. I think that could be really, really nice. So we're going to just go to about there. And we're going to do the same going up this part of the avenue as well. So we're going to go all the way up here. And we're going to have this divide. Now, this divide is going to be connected to the avenues. We are going to have points where the pathways are going to go towards the avenue, so people can walk back and forth. They can do their thing. They don't have to drive everywhere. Of course, we're going to need to put some brakes in this pathway as well to add in some roads. But this is just sort of a concept thus far. Now, the reason I got rid of all the trees as well is because I want to add those all back in and want to add some variation to them. I don't want them all to be pine trees. I want it to look like this area is, you know, looked after. It's a really nice suburban area on the edge of the city. So this is going to go all the way up here, and I think it's going to look kind of cool. I think this is definitely a cool thing to do, to have, you know, this pathway going along here. So it's going to go to about there. And that'll be fine. We do have this mound in the middle here. I'm actually going to go in and smooth that out, I think. So rather than completely get rid of it, there's still a bit of a hill there, just not as steep as it was. So at this point, what I want to do is I want to go in and I want to have this road. I'm going to use Anarchy to do it. Actually, no, that's still going to get rid of the pathway, so that's fine. So Anarchy doesn't need to be on. I want that to go to there and there. And I want a road to go from there, about 20 units in. And we could do another one just up here, another 20 units in. And off of all of those, I'm thinking we could do a road that sort of loops around and get some zoning, you know, along that that pathway. So I think that's going to be a thing we try and do. I'm going to leave a little gap there so that it doesn't have to be perfect. But just something kind of like that. Just coming the whole way around. It's going to get to that corner. It's going to be a bit weird, but we'll go like that. And just have it follow the whole way along that pathway, going right into there. And then we'll do the same just on this side. Again, leaving a bit of a gap there between the back end of where the houses are going to be and where the path is, which again is completely fine because we are going to have some trees on one side of that. So if we go in, we can actually go to here. We can bring the path back and have it connect there. And we can have this bit of path connect straight to there. And that's totally fine. And then all we need to do really is make this look like a bit of a suburb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a cut in the video real quick, and I'm going to go to Google and just have a quick look at some suburb layouts to see what kind of road layout I want to go for with this. I do like what we have going on down here, and I do think we're going to stick with that very sort of straight line style suburb. I just want to make it feel a little bit more open than the ones we've had before. So I've got an interesting image I'm going to base this off of. I've actually got an idea for sort of a roundabout right in the middle of all this. And I know you're thinking that's a bit weird, and you're not wrong, but if we bring that to there and bring that to there-ish, and we bring this one straight through as well, you can sort of see where I'm going with this, and you can sort of see why there would, in fact, be room for a roundabout in here. And I'm going to make it a kind of big one, just because I think it's going to look interesting. It's not necessarily going to be the busiest roundabout in the world, but it's going to be a roundabout nonetheless in the heart of a suburban zone, which I think is kind of cool, actually. So if we turn on road guidelines real quick, I can have this little road just go to there. In fact, let's do that properly with a proper curve. So like that. This road's going to need to be tweaked a little bit. That's not so much a big deal. So that's going to go like that and like that. And yeah, off of those, we're basically going to do little sections like this. So we do have, you know, these curvy roads going through here, but I think this will be kind of interesting looking, especially since we can put some details and decorations in there. What I'm actually thinking is all these roads are going to be downgraded to only have grass on them, because we are going to be putting some trees in here. So all of those are going to be grass lined, just going the whole way around there. The roundabout, same story. It is also going to be grass lined, just like so. And then, like I said, in all of these bits, we just need to get space for people to live. So what I'm thinking we do is we could just bring a bunch of little dead-end roads over here. And I'm definitely thinking about it. Turn off road guidelines real quick. If we do that, I kind of want I want buildings to be fairly close to the roundabout. So if we go like that and go like that, and then maybe go a little bit further there, a little bit further there. So that's going to be fine. We kind of want to do the same on this bit as well. And just over there too. just so that there's going to be some buildings pretty close to the roundabout. We can put some pathways between those, and then the rest of this isn't actually going to be anywhere near as symmetrical as what we're currently looking at. So let's just see. We want just a bunch of roads coming off and just making space for people to live. And I don't really mind just how much space we leave between all the roads. So something kind of like that's fine. Because we do want green space in here. We absolutely do. So like a big green space like that will be good. We can put some stuff in there. This can come down a little bit further, sort of like that-ish. So yeah, down to about there. We can bring this out to, you know, that point. And maybe bring a little bit off of here as well. So like that. Yeah, I think this will look kind of interesting. So I'll go through, I'll put all the roads in, I'll get the water in, I'll zone it, we'll get some parks in, and we're going to see what this is going to look like. I'm really hoping we're going to be onto a good thing here. So this right here is sort of what I'm thinking a lot of our suburbs are going to look like. It's not entirely dissimilar to what we've built already. It's just a bit more spread out with more green space between a lot of the buildings. And that's good because I'm going to start putting some custom parks into some of those spaces. You know, maybe in here we could get like some football fields or something like that. The roundabout is eventually going to be more of a centerpiece. At the minute, it is just a roundabout. And there will be buildings and zoning just over here as well at the top end. But I just wanted to build this as a bit of a concept. I'm also not using the European theme on these buildings, so it is going to look a little different to the suburban stuff we have down here. And I definitely think that's a cool look. The good news as well is that it is getting people to use this road here, which is really good. So we should start seeing this road get a little bit more active. There isn't an old time policy on this, so vehicles may very well decide to go straight through this district from time to time. If that becomes a problem, then there will eventually be a district put there and an old time policy put there as well. But for the most part, I actually really like how this turned out. I think it just looks cool. It looks, you know, it's an expanded version of this, and that's kind of what it was supposed to be. It follows the curves of the area, and that's pretty much what the suburbs around the city are gonna end up looking like. We're not gonna surround the entire city in suburbs, but you know, we might have another industrial zone here or there. Most likely this entire space over here will be suburbs, but I'm looking forward to it. I think we've got a pretty cool looking thing going here. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to leave it there for today. Thank you kindly for watching. This has been City Skylines Mass Transit Part 35. Possibly a bit of a longer episode than usual. I don't know. I've been recording for over 90 minutes at this point, so I don't know what that's going to be in the edit, but what happened here? We apparently had a massive fire in one of the parks. Oh boy, that's a problem. That is definitely a problem. But yeah, so I guess what I want to say before we do completely wrap this up is that I do apologize again for the delays in videos. I know that some people are choosing to watch less of the channel because my videos haven't been as frequent as perhaps they should be. I know that for a lot of people that's incredibly frustrating that the videos aren't as frequent as they have been. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get the videos back to where they should be. I'm also trying to figure out what's wrong with this. What did I do wrong with all of this? Really curious as to why several of my bus lines... You know what? We're not going to worry about it. We'll get it next time. The point I'm trying to make is that I know videos haven't been as frequent recently. I know there haven't been as many of them as well, just when the videos are coming out. I'm doing a lot of IRL stuff right now. I'm doing a lot of just thinking. I'm trying to get my throat better, and I mentioned it in a vlog a couple of, maybe a week or two ago, that I'm not gonna make myself make videos when I'm just not in the right mindset. So if I'm a little bit down in the dumps, I don't want to get on the microphone and be like, hey, everything's all wacky and zany and okay. Because sometimes the cracks start to show The commentary goes very quickly from a high energy thing to just a really low and sort of like, yeah, we're going to do this kind of thing. I want to make sure I'm always in the right frame of mind for doing this. I don't want to mislead you as the audience into thinking that everything's okay 110% of the time. Because it's okay to be down from time to time. And I know this is a gaming channel. I know that my thing is gaming, and I know some people are going to be like, yo, bro, stop. You're a gamer. But, you know, I like being able to engage in that kind of discussion as well from time to time. So that's kind of what's going on with me. I'm making sure I'm doing videos for the right reasons, and when I'm happy doing them. I'm also trying to heal my throat, which really isn't helping. But with that in mind, as always, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!